Good morning once more, everyone. Welcome to this career community event, to this first session. I hope all of you could have good meetings, productive meetings, good information from this session. The title of the session is important, it's broad, Global Wholesale Telco Industry in the Digital Transformation Era. So the subject can be addressed by many different perspectives, and I hope we can give you important information. A few seconds for myself. I am Alessandro Forcina. I am a partner of Cambridge Management Consulting, a UK-based company, and I have more than 35 years in the telecom world, mainly in the Telecom Italia group, domestic and wholesale, but also with GSMA and other German companies. Let me introduce my partners, the panelists. We have Lyubov Martinova, Compass Tech, Frank Morales, Orange Wholesale, Edwin Van Ireland, iBasis, Alicia Pittman, Deutsche Telekom Global Carrier, Nasia Skularikiti, Apirodata, and Monica Lungo, China Mobile International. So it's a parterre de roi. We have a representative of the first worldwide telecom operator. We have a representative of the first European telecom operator, and I'd like to invite all of them to a very short presentation. Lyubov, it's up to you. Just a short presentation of yourself, and then I give you the floor for the keynote.
I'm here today to represent Compass Tech, and just a little bit later I will give a short presentation about one of the main products, NNP Exchange. Thank you.
Thank you. Frank.
Yes, Frank Morales. Hi, everyone. So I'm SVP Marketing and Business Development in Orange Wholesale International. And I'm very great to be there.
Edwin
van Ierland, the CEO of iBasis, the business unit Voice and Mobile Data. One of the dinosaurs apparently in this group, already 30 years in the industry and ready for my retirement.
Alicia.
Hi everyone, my name is Alicia Pitan. I am from Deutsche Telekom Global Carrier, and I'm happy to be here with you today.
Thank you. Nasia.
We were given 40 seconds. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Nasia Skulikariti. Although I wear many hats today, I'm here as the founder and CEO of Apirodata, an IoT end-to-end and digital transformation company. Happy to hear.
And Monica, last but not least, Monica.
Hello. Hello, I'm Monica. I've been doing sales and business development in the telecom industry for more than 12 years already, handling international voice business, A2P, messaging, and mobile services and solutions. Currently, I'm based in Germany, working for China Mobile International Germany, focusing on A2P and mobile services. I'm very enthusiastic to be here with all of you.
Thank you very much. And following the schedule, I'd like to invite Lyubov to give us a short keynote on her activity.
Okay. So hello everyone, my name is Lyubov Martinova and I'm here today to represent Compass Tech. First and foremost, I would like to say thank you to GCCM organizers for the invitation and for the chance to tell more about our products and services. So to get started, let me briefly tell you about Compass Tech. We provide telephony services and cloud solutions to small and medium-sized businesses, operators, aggregators, and integrators. Compass Tech is a registered telecom operator and software product developer that has been implementing large-scale products since 2014. The company currently operates in 5 European countries: Austria, France, Germany, Hungary, and Slovakia. And we do have all kind of registrations for our operations. In terms of inter-operator relations, We offer DID numbers. More than 60,000 phone numbers have been allocated to CompassTech by regulators. Also, we provide domestic interconnect, international interconnect, and SIP trunking services. CompassTech is a developer of software products as well. Our telecom platform offers many solutions and services for effective business communications. The main ones: virtual PBX, contact center, AI, automated calls, and chatbots. All these services are offered as white label. Since we've been developing the international interconnect direction over the past few years, we have come to the conclusion through interactions with partners that a unified source of data on numbering plans and ported numbers from various countries is necessary to ensure transparent and reliable interconnection and to eliminate fraudulent traffic. When we needed a unified source of data and couldn't find one, we created our own called NNP exchange. Now we can offer it to other operators and billing developers as an effective tool for their operation. Using NNP by telecom operator allows us to reduce call routing costs to obtain reliable analytics to prevent fraud. For software developers, this tool helps to improve the quality of services, to get detailed information on numbering plans, number types for each country in the world, and as well to protect their customers from fraud. Here are the list of advantages. Just to make it short, I will just name them. Some of them: automated updates, which keep the information NNP current. The NNP database contains the information from over 200 countries of the world by now. We use data only from reliable sources. We offer our clients and partners a software interface with flexible integration settings via API, and one of the most and important things that we are trying to pay attention to every customer request. So what does actually an operator get by using NNP exchange? At the top of slide, you can see a simple price list. In the second part, there is a screenshot of the price list generated by NNP exchange, which contains more than 10,000 prefixes and parameters, including network names, prices, number types, NDC, and country codes. So the operator receives real-time information on changes in dial codes, ownership, which allows to first ensure accurate call routing, make a detailed calculation of call cost, obtain reliable data on phone numbers, filter out non-existent ones, and thus avoid false billing. As for today, we offer our database in two ways. First, with the ability to make a one-time export without volume limitation. And the second one, it's access to NNP exchange on requests in real time via API. Also, you can check your number, or any necessary number manually by visiting our website. And if you go now to our website, www.compass.eu, and choose a page for operators, there you can find a page of NNP exchange project and enter your number and check all necessary information about the necessary number. And the most important, that it's for free. So just to sum up, I would like to point it out that system currently holds data on numbering plans for more than 200 countries. Additionally, it contains knowledge about ported numbers in Austria and Hungary, and we are in progress now to add it with the countries where we operate, so Slovakia and France and Germany. If you want to know more about our products, of course, you are very welcome on our booth. The number of our booths is E56. We will be glad to see you. And here at GCCM, we are happy to join this event. And thank you for your attention, and have a nice and beautiful day today and tomorrow. Thank you.
Many thanks, Lyubov, for your presentation. Now we can start the discussion on the various topics related to this presentation, and I'd like to start with a consideration on the wholesale telecom industry. The wholesale industry went across a number of innovation waves. 25 years ago, we had the move to IP. We did. And then we had the move to the data center. We are progressing to do that. Now, the first question I'd like to raise with my panelists is, which is the most important critical challenge the wholesale industry has to face, and which is the action we have to put in place in order to face this challenge. Edwin, do you like to start?
Thank you, Alexander. That's a good question, and it's also at the same time a very challenging question, because as an industry we need to remain customer-centric. We can, let's say, follow all the technologies, and let's say the technologies are going in a rapid pace at this moment. Let's say we have been benefiting from a long time traditional TDM thinking with some, let's say, businesses and a significant margin. And those times are over. They are not longer
Definitely
there.
over.
Let's say people are surprised that faulty migrations take place, but that could have happened already 4 or 5 years ago. People are talking about 6G, well, 5G is not rolled out yet. We're talking about RCS, we're talking about APIs, we're talking about artificial intelligence. So there are so many things at this moment going on. And let's say as an industry, we need to, let's say, adjust ourselves to those kinds of waves. What is profitable, what is not profitable, and what is at the same time serving the customer. And that is still the main important thing. The customer, who is currently the customer? Is that the youth who are driving us nuts with TikTok? Let's say all kinds of features, APIs on the phones, where still our generation as management is still from 25 years ago, and we use just plain old telephony service. So the challenge we are facing is, and that's interesting when you see this audience, it's, let's say, young people, old people, senior people. We need to manage that, and we need to manage that in such a way that the industry remains profitable, because in the end, we need to deliver. And that is a big, huge challenge at this moment. Nasia can tell us more about IoT, which was a golden, let's say, egg 5-6 years ago, and everybody had huge, let's say, expectations of that. And the same was happening with CPaaS. And where is the money?
You are right. You raised a lot of questions. I have some answers in my mind, but who likes to reply to Edwin? Frank?
What's important in what Edwin had said, maybe so at the end.
The main challenge in front of the wholesale operators.
Yeah, one element is, I would say, the responsibility, because with the digital transformation, I think the wholesale activity is at the heart of this transformation to make it a success. And so it's a very huge opportunity for the wholesale. As you said, Edwin, we need to make sure that we enter into the right transformation in order to get the value and to answer customer demand. But nothing could happen in the digital transformation without a wholesale model that is transforming. And for me, the word is transformation. Transformation to integrate the technology, the right one at the right moment, moving from telco to techco. Transformation in managing partnership, because as carrier we are used to integrate a lot of partners, but we were used to do vertical integration. Now we are doing horizontal integration. It's completely different, using all the technology from the cloud native things. I think we also have to tighten the relationship within our company or with partners between the B2B retail and the wholesale, in order to get the scale, in order to make sure that we have this end-to-end view to serve customers. And last but not least, I think we need to make sure that our assets are still very attractive and we can continue to move forward on monetizing them. Don't want to go into the fair share type of a discussion, but somehow behind the transformation we need to do, this question of having assets that are still with a lot of value and we can monetize them is very important to get out with the right value from what we are doing.
What I got from Edwin is one question is who are the customers? And the customer could say are from the enterprises up to the hyperscaler Google. The range is very broad. Another point that you raised is the transformation. Monica, Nasia, Alicia, Monica, Nasia.
So there's a lot of key elements that was touched by both Edwin and Frank as well, and the word transformation, especially when we come to digital transformation. And I know we're talking about the wholesale industry is such a big umbrella, and it has become just another hype like IoT and many of the new so-called services that we have a lot of expectations. But I want to take it a step back a little bit and just to incorporate that when we're talking about any kind of transformation, we're talking about the technology side, such as the telco becoming a techo. We're talking about the operational side, and not to forget the operations it's a vast area, especially for a telco, right? And we're talking about the human side, which is, in my view, because you mentioned about challenges, is one of the key challenges when we're talking about the human element. Left and right, since last year, we're hearing about all the layoffs, right? And we hear very little about upskilling. Very few people talking of how they're going to educate their employees and leadership to incorporate and understand and be aware about the new technologies, such as AI, which has become a commonplace. And yes, it's another hype work, but it is reality. It is happening. So what are we doing? How are we going to do it? We talk a lot, we exchange a lot of information, we shake hands, but in the end of the day, we go back to our work and we have to deal with the day-to-day and making sure we see some return on investment, which has become a challenge these days.
Thank you, Nasia. To my mind, the word digital transformation brings me to a sort of holy grail. It's a holy grail the telecom world is looking for 20 years. 25 years. But you are right, as well as you're right, putting on the discussion of the issue of human resources. By chance, yesterday I was discussing with a friend of mine some AI stuff, and he told me the companies are bringing the staff to AI training, but not the managers. And the managers are not aware of the capability of AI. Let's come back to our discussion. Monica or Alicia, there are a lot of topics to be addressed.
I would rather like to address this topic from the perspective of the A2P business. As we all know, the main challenges that we've seen in the recent years have been related to the artificial inflation of traffic abuse, declining margins. This is in the context of a more and more competitive market, but also the reducing budgets of the enterprise customers and the OTTs. And also we've witnessed increased regulations and requirements for A2P termination in different parts of the world, in particular Asia market. We all know that this is a very complex market when it comes to messaging, to registrations. Our way to adapt is by, of course, using the artificial intelligence and machine learning technologies, which are not only not big words. This is the reality. This is what is currently happening. Automation has been helping us save on cost and therefore increase margins. Being a more having a more customer-centric experience, creating innovating products for our customers, and addressing their needs. I would just mention in this case this particular topic of the increased regulations. CMI has been actively working on this by creating a platform as a service, which is called iConnect. It's a platform where our customers have access in a few clicks to all the information needed to simplify this process. We know the amount of back and forth emails and communication that this requires. Through digital services, I believe, and we believe, it's the only way to offer our customers better services, personalized services, to increase our margins, and adapt. In the end, this is all about this transformation era that's happening right now.
Thank you, Monica. Alicia, the Deutsche Telekom Global Carrier views on how we as a wholesale world are living today, and what you are doing for the digital transformation.
Yeah, I think I can tie into what Monica just said, as well as what Edwin mentioned before about being customer-centric. We really came to realize that with the changing demands that we've seen in consumers, so them demanding an easy-to-use online kind of ordering, end-to-end global services, as well as like instant delivery. This is nothing that one carrier can offer on its own. So for us nowadays, we really say collaboration is key, be it with other carriers, be it with hyperscalers, with aggregators. We really see this as the one way forward. And along with that, we see that API-based architectures as well as cloud-based networks, they do represent a huge opportunity. And I think similar to what Monica just mentioned, we have recently announced our digital services portal. So
1 month ago.
Yeah, I think 3 weeks, something. Yeah, so recently. My colleague Miriam, who's here, she has been working on this. So if you should have any questions, this is the opportunity. We are exposing our Telecom Edge Cloud, CPaaS, network APIs, so existing and upcoming services there for consumers to have an easy access to consume what is there and to configure individualized solutions in an easy way. So I think those kind of portals are going to be a big thing going forward. And also they are like, how do you say, like the kind of visible result of the digital transformation that Frank has mentioned that we are all going through.
Thank you. I take 3 words from your answer. One is, again, once more, digital transformation. Another one is API, and we can discuss a lot on API. What does it mean? The third one is collaboration/partnership. On the first one, on digital transformation, some short-term actions that you are putting in place, you are implementing. Frank?
Yes, I think digital transformation, I think cannot happen like this. So it's a long journey, but we have started a few years ago with our 4 layers infrastructure, transmission, backbone, telco cloud infrastructure and services. All this wrapped with orchestration and all these things. But on digital transformation, something which is absolutely key that we have launched is our EVPL online type of service, where our customer can do eligibility, can order their service, and follow the production. And the beauty of this, in order to link to the other topics, is that they can do all this, and without knowing, they can ask for eligibility of a site which is not served by our own backbone or our own local loop, because we are using API with other operators. Could be for the backbone side, could be for delivering the local loop. So it's really representing for us what is the future of this digital transformation for carriers, and for what, of course, but I'm sure we will discuss about that. We are using MEF API, as you can imagine, Alessandro.
May I add something? Because I think this is a very important topic, because there isn't a single company in our industry that is not being transformed in one way or another. A digital transformation, what I want to do is, because what we do at ApidoData is we enable telcos to go through the digital transformation in a practical way. So what I want to do is offer a bit of practical advice to people when it comes to digital transformation, because we have companies of all sizes. We have big telcos, we have medium telcos, and we have small startups that they're getting into the industry. And like it or not, we all need to transform, because the industry is changing, is innovating, is moving forward. So going back to what I said, practical advice. When we're thinking about digital transformation, we're thinking about a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of resources. Resources mean more human capital and financial. And more than 75% of those transformations are failing. And it's not me who's saying that, it's companies like McKinsey and that came up with these numbers. And one of the key reasons transformations are failing is buy-in, of course, because you have so many people that need to understand what you're doing, how you're doing it, and collaborate and make sure that it happens. So there is an easier way, especially for medium to smaller companies, to get into the transformation arena and start changing their business. It's what I call digital evolution, which it automatically, helps your people move from point A to point B slower. And you don't have to spend a lot of money up front without knowing what happens. What I mean by digital evolution is you take your transformation step by step, not, overall all at once, to then arrive into a holistic destination of transforming something. And the key topic in everywhere these days is AI. But a lot of people are jumping into the wagon to offer AI because we think we have to. But do we really?
Alicia?
Yes, yeah, I think you mentioned a good point about failure. Addressing failure obviously is important for us to learn. And I think it was just before the discussion we've mentioned CPaaS and the fact that telco operators were, so let me say self-critically, a bit late to the party, and we left that market a lot to aggregators. And I do also think that while it is important to acknowledge that, to see where we are learning. And for example, together with Orange, within GLF, Deutsche Telekom Global Carrier, as well as Telefonica and PCCW Global, we have been working on technical POC where we were able to reduce roaming latency drastically. And I think more important than the result of being able to have the same latency roaming in IoT as compared to the local in-country connectivity was that we, as the kind of big ships, we managed to deliver that result within, I think, just over half a year, which is for us, it's the big speed, and I think something where we show that we are learning.
By the way, roaming latency, it took 5-6 minutes for me, Vodafone Italy, Vodafone Germany, to get the 4G roaming. Yesterday, Vodafone Italy, Vodafone Germany, 6, 7, 8 minutes, maybe 10 minutes.
We should call Vodafone.
I would like to add something to this.
And then I explain to you why I am Vodafone.
I'd like to add something to the discussion, because let's say we are on a crossroad of indeed preserving what we have. And let's say we have a good reputation in the market that we deliver quality, we deliver good price to a communication service which is accessible for everybody. And that's in place. At the same time, we're talking about a digital transformation whereby we need to preserve what we have. And we need to invest in that still. For me as a CEO, let's say that's sometimes a difficult discussion. If I'm back in tomorrow morning at my desk, I look at my dashboards, I look at my results. And at the same time, I need to invest in new digital transformation, but there is an entire scala of opportunities. Which are the golden eggs? And that is my, let's say, my biggest challenge. Yes, I see the transformation. However, I cannot invest unlimitedly in all these opportunities going forward. I have to make choices. Let's say as a wholesaler, we know we are working with extremely thin margins. We know that. And that is where we're good. We could handle big volumes. At the same time, we are the masters in creating complexity by ourselves. Look at OBR rating, for instance. And okay, it's fantastic. And at the same time, we thought that SMS was dead because WhatsApp came in and SMS is still alive. And at the same time, we see not AI, but AIT, artificial inflated traffic. So I see a lot of challenges. And I have to make choices every day. What is it what I'm going to do? How do I keep my team motivated? By the way, how do I keep my shareholders happy? And by the way, which service do I need to deliver to the end customer? Which is state of the art, with no latency, price competitive, with excellent quality. Because that is what we are.
I do understand your worries. I share. I lived when I was in my former company in Telecom Italia Sparkle some of those troubles, but notwithstanding these cautious, we have to see ahead, and in front of one of the possible way is an acronym already mentioned from you, API, Application Programming Interface. And I'd like to go just a bit in depth, sharing with you some data. So a few days ago, IDC predicts that worldwide spending on telecom and network API will be equal to 6.7 billion by 2028, with a CAGR from today till 28 of 57%. And this figure has to be compared with a McKinsey study for GSMA, who predicts by 2030, I don't want to, 300 billion for AP-related plus connectivity. And then putting aside the connectivity for McKinsey, say to GSMA, so McKinsey, GSMA, revenues up to 2030 in the range of 8, 9, 10 billions. API, which is one acronym. Then we have to distinguish between the carrier-to-carrier API, and there is math in front of me, and the API for increasing the revenues. And in front of me, there is a GSMA Open Gateway, there is Camara, there is Nokia, Ericsson Vonage. By the way, Ericsson spent 6 billion for taking over Vonage. So who likes to comment my words on API?
Do you want me? You know my passion for API. I think, first of all, API is not the only way and the only tool, because API is a tool at the end of the day, to succeed in automation and orchestration and delivering services. And you can do API, but if your back office is not ready, you will not do so much with API. But things aside, and today is very important, that matter. You should imagine that in our backbone, 95% of all operations are already automatized. And this is done through sometimes API, sometimes public API, sometimes private API. We don't care. The fact is you need automation in your back office. Then coming back to the relation between API and making money, which is somehow your question. first, MEF is not doing only carrier-to-carrier API. Yeah? We are doing much more than that with MEF. And we recently made an announcement that we have opened our API directly to companies. But whatever it is, MEF, Camara, GSMA, whatever, I think APIs is, first of all, two elements, absolutely key elements. First one is use case, because use case is money. We hope money from some use case, at least. We take prediction from analysts. McKinsey is pushing a bit a lot, but okay. So use case needs to be clear. For MEF, use cases are clear. It's network as a service, it's SASE, it's interconnection between...
With MEF, it was easier. It was carrier A, we has a relationship with carrier B in order to, for example, making easier the provisioning.
Alessandro, with carrier A, with carrier B, with cloud actors, with IT integrators, with solution vendors, like the Palo Alto, the Cisco, the Fortinet, all these kind of actors. So that's the MEF. And what we are mentioning is the second thing which is important, is an ecosystem of actors. This ecosystem of actors needs to be aligned in order to develop those API and those use cases. Because, for example, I take Camara, we have clear use cases, identification, geolocalization. I think there is 8 or 21st use cases that has been decided by Camara, GSMA, and
oh, by the way, Camara, for the people who doesn't know, Camara is a project within a Linux Foundation for development of API in line, they say, in line with the GSMA initiative Open Gateway.
Yeah, and so the use cases are clear on this area. The use cases are clear for MEF. And then you need the ecosystem to develop that in order to apply those use cases, because the money will come from the use cases, so maybe directly from API. I hope so, even though I can be sometimes skeptical on this one, but will be delivered by the service that are behind the use cases. And so API is just a tool to make these use cases appear and being attractive to have, in the case of MEF, companies to buy these use cases, to buy SASE, to buy SD-WAN, to buy Zero Trust Network that can be delivered through service providers, with vendors, with cloud actors, with all the ecosystem, which is growing and developing this.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Frank. And this is what I've said before, collaboration is absolutely crucial here. It is about the ecosystem, as you said, and we cannot be operating on a singular level there, especially looking at the competition from hyperscalers that we're facing. There is just really no other way than collaborating.
Nasser, your view on partnership, I think you are large experience on this.
Frank said it already, and also APIs is the enabler, right? You're talking about monetization on the API and how can we make money for the API. What is an API? It's a stream of code, right, in the end of the day. So Frank mentioned it's the use case. And we talked about the collaboration between the industry as well. So interoperability is an area that is key. It's not just the collaboration and working in the partnerships, but also how does this APIs and the standards behind the APIs can work and interoperate between themselves in order to build those use cases so they don't stand alone. And that's how then you monetize. Once you have a system and you can string multiple APIs together to create a solution, to create a use case, that is what you monetize. The API itself, unless you monetize per use API, per call each API, which most software providers do these days, be it on the IoT connectivity, we call APIs and we monetize, or the business model that has been used is how many times you call the API, right? That's another way you monetize the API. But in the end of the day, I want to highlight again, when we're talking about APIs, we're talking about a stream of code put together to enable some sort of transfer of data. So we go back to the data. It's all in the end of the day about the data we collect. So we should be looking, if we want to make a bigger ROI, how do we monetize that data?
Well, it is also about, for example, network capabilities that we can expose, right? So this is another important use case that we have made good experiences, for example, offering quality on demand. As you said, it's like a call that is limited, but then it is really something where we see the network capabilities in 5G, for example, is appreciated by the customer and use case that is valued.
Monica, in terms of collaboration partnership, so new business model, what are the guidelines China Mobile International is pursuing?
We've seen in the recent years that the telecom industry has evolved from using a limited amount of suppliers and partners to using a variety of partners and suppliers, but most importantly, using reliable and trustworthy partners. As my colleagues also mentioned, collaboration is extremely important. And we believe that by having a variety of partners, this is the way to support innovation, but also to identify new business models and strong collaboration to face the challenges that we've seen lately. At CMI, we strongly believe that innovation, digitalization, and also these new technologies are mandatory in order to maintain the business vitality. This is something very important for us when it comes to partnerships, when it comes to our customer demands, when it comes to developing our services and products. This is why we've been trying to address these challenges, like, for example, data management with some specific products, like our clearing house for roaming data, for roaming finance. It's a massive amount of data that must be shared between the operators. Another service that we've been offering to our customers in order to deliver a more personalized customer experience, as my colleague also mentioned, is a portal as a service, enhancing the communication platforms with our customers, and of course the IoT that was already discussed by my colleagues. We have our own platform called Ringa that we address to address all these challenges that IoT market is bringing in the market in the last years regarding compliance, compatibility between the devices, security, and data management. So there are a lot of services and solutions together with focusing on our customers and partnerships that we've been trying to address to the market in this transforming age.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Monica. I'd like to pick up another acronym mentioned in the discussion, IoT, Internet of Things. Edwin already shared with us his worries that his consideration that the revenues that the telcos has seen from IoT are lower than expected. Unfortunately, he's right. But can we comment more on this technology? Nasia, I am sure you are ready to share with us your experience.
Okay, so One of the things that I try to start when I talk about IoT is just to remind everybody that IoT is not one thing. It's a conglomeration of many technologies streamed together. So revenues are lower than expected in one area of IoT, yet in other areas of the ecosystem, they're doing quite well. So depending which angle...
For example?
Exactly. Manufacturing, mining, agriculture, those areas are growing. It's beyond metering. It's about understanding, let's take agriculture, when and how to plant something, understand the weather patterns, so it's more predictive in order to help us with analytics. So it involves a lot more analytics. So where we've seen in the telco industry, and I'm generalizing because there are players in the industry that are making decent money, but they are selling it. IoT connectivity is more commoditized than messaging and more commoditized than voice. We're selling IoT data cheaper than we're selling an SMS and a voice minute these days. So we need more and more of it. And luckily, we're going to all be connected and everything is going to be connected. So the proliferation of the devices is exponential. So we don't have to worry about the connections per se. I think I want to throw something out there where we went wrong is we use different ways to monetize connectivity that's brought us to this conundrum. Of selling it as cheaper as possible without taking into consideration the value that it provides, without adding additional streams on top of it, such as security and quality, because not all connectivity is made equal. It's not one size fits all, but yet if somebody goes out and says, I'm going to give you a connectivity that will cost you 10 euros for the next 10 years, what is the other person to do with it? Edwin, you have something to say on that.
Let's face reality. We started with IoT 5-6 years ago, and we had huge expectations of what it could bring, let's say, to the industry going forward. Day one, we were facing hurdles, permanent data roaming. Mm-hmm. Okay, MNOs panicking, permanent data roaming. What the hell is that? And no, we can't allow that. Okay, and there you go with your model already. We see a famous car brand sending out blast off emergency updates at 6 o'clock in the evening, almost ruining networks in Europe at that time. They have no clue what they are doing. Yeah. And at the same time, the MNOs, they are surprised by the enormous blast of, and we are talking about hundreds of gigabits in a short period of time, let's say updating cars at the same time.
Not prepared.
Not prepared. Let's say we see the Olympics coming forward. We saw the visit of the Pope in Portugal. A lot of people, a lot of devices, machine to machine, in a concentrated area, almost ruining existing networks. So at the same time, we have the innovation, the digital transformation, which we support, and at the same time, we have to protect our network, to provide the guarantees, because we have existing services to guarantee. And that is the, let's say, the balancing act we are playing every day. Mm-hmm. Let's say, and I'm facing it, and let's say, it is a nice, every day is a new adventure for me. I'm quite honest. Never is a boring moment. But, wow. We thought it was simple. It would be the golden nugget IoT. And it isn't.
It hasn't happened. It hasn't reached that point. And it's sad to say because it's been 30 years on the making through machine to machine, right? It's not today. And we haven't seen the top yet. The hype has been there, but we haven't been able to see the value out of IoT. And again, there's IoT and there's IoT. IoT connectivity, maybe we lost the chance to monetize it in a way that it will be conducive to making money. Still people making money, but not what the expectation is. So I think we need to look at it more holistically and more broader, similarly to what Frank was saying about the APIs, which is down to the use case. Because when we talk into IoT, use case to use case has different monetization kinds of things, and that's where the value is. The value is when we're looking at the use case and the chance the operators are having and the time that the operators are having in order to monetize that has been shrinking for the past years because the hyperscalers has been taking and encroaching in that environment, and it's a dangerous thing. I mean, to the point. And you mentioned permanent roaming, right? And you mentioned, you cannot allow permanent roaming. It makes sense, because if somebody is using your system and not paying for it, why would you allow it? So who's right?
I have a comment from a different perspective, not on IoT, but on a number of issues. I personally played a lot in the standardization bodies, European, worldwide, and so on and on. One consideration that I can say after 35 years of telecom world, one reason, not the main one, but one of the reasons of the failure of the telecom world in terms of revenues is the lack of a unique standard. I can say on my life, IPX was a failure. IPX, you have to say, was a failure. Open RAN, if you follow the Open RAN, it's I can say it's a failure, but for sure the money and the time spent by the MNOs is huge. API, it could be better in terms of time and final result. IoT, after years, I read a few months ago, there is the IoT Alliance. The problem is, once there was ITU, of course, it's not matter of ITU, but now there is the IoT Alliance private, MEF private, and so on and on. Maybe I'm right, but I'm like to listen to your comments whether a private standard limited to few actors at the end has limited the revenues of the services to be deployed, to be offered. Frank, you are a different opinion.
Not a different opinion. I think we can spend the night on this, but we don't have time. I think that there are few elements. I think let's go back to the IoT case. And sometimes I'm a bit worried about API, telco API, and so on. I think what analysts are seeing, are predicting, somehow they are misleading everyone in the industry because they don't take into consideration the hurdles that Edwin was mentioning, that you need to integrate that again in an horizontal way. You need to think about small topic like permanent roaming. You need to think about all this. So compared to before, in the telecom industry, to make it clear, we were doing standards and then we were deploying. Look at GSM, 4G, 5G, 5G SA. So that was the model. Today, the model is coming from innovation, from startup and so on. So at one point in time, we are seeing the market moving forward, and effectively, it takes a bit of time. In one way, to try to figure out how to standardize, and in the other way, for every actors of the value chain, because it's a complete value chain, to set up everything ready to make the business happening in a right way. Because of course, you can have startups moving forward, developing his business, doing his business, having a CEO very happy because he's taking the right decision every day and he's getting money back from these decisions. But as an industry, it's not satisfying somehow. So that's maybe one element. And coming back to my first comment about transformation, I think all the company you mentioned, private or whatever, MEF, TM Forum, GSMA, they are not private. It is us. It is us being part of all these industry body, and to make sure that we can be fast enough to make it happen. First thing, fast enough to deploy this development, and fast enough and wise enough as we have just announced, for example, between MEF and TM Forum, to make sure that the concrete industry bodies, the one that are accurate for this development, are working together to the development of the industry and not for the development of one industry body compared to the other one. So that's really, we need to be part, we need to be faster. That's the transformation topic. If we are faster enough to transform ourselves, we can be faster enough by being part of these industry bodies to make things happening quicker than today. But you're right, we have faced, in my view, probably the last 10 years, struggling between the innovation and the way we can develop ourselves, and simply because of what Edwin was saying. We need to protect our business, we need to develop our revenues, we need to develop our margin, we need to make our shareholders happy, and in the meantime to invest so much to prepare the future that it was somehow an impossible bet to make. But that's my view.
Other views before giving
Just a little addition to what Frank said is, and because he brought it into a nice circle back to digital transformation, and a reminder that this new innovation and these new technologies, they're wonderful, right? They're exciting. I see we're seeing the industry, any industry, moving forward in a new and a fun way. However, jumping into the hot water without understanding what it is entailed and how to monetize something, this is what happened with IoT. IoT was the buzzword. The analyst predicted so many connectivity devices that will be connected in the billions, and they are, but they don't predict accurately how much money you can make from that connectivity. And either it's a telco or is a service provider or is a niche IoT player, they got into the market because they saw the opportunity, but it was miscalculated, and they didn't spend enough time to understand where the opportunity is and where to invest the time and effort. Like, for instance, on the telco side of things, the enabling. Instead of spending money and resources to build something that somebody else has made it and is out there, enabling the others to offer the services and charging a premium for it. And goes back to the collaboration.
Alicia.
Thank you. Yeah, I do have to disagree, though, because I think, predictions are rarely accurate, right? We have to try out different approaches to see how they're going to work and what is going to work. And like Deutsche Telekom Global Carrier, we engage in a lot of innovative partnerships, not only because we are so convinced of collaboration being imperative, but also because we are trying different approaches and to see how they work and which one is going to work well. Me personally, as an economist, I can say, research clearly shows you need diverse approaches to come up with innovative concepts, and you need a spirit of competitiveness, competition, to produce good results. And so we may be lucky or not, we have a strong competition with the hyperscalers that forces us to be innovative, and it's like do or die,
What do you think is innovation when Deutsche Telekom offers IoT connectivity for €10 for 10 years? What does that do to the industry?
Please, short comment.
Sure. So I think this is not innovative, This is a pricing model that's, as you said, commoditizing the product. So clearly, this is not the kind of innovation that we need.
It's noon, and I'd like to ask any question from the floor. Is there any question from your side? No? So a short comment from you to the question, which is in front of us in the short term, so by 24 months. A short comment from all of you in terms of challenge and move ahead of main service or
So
From
the cha-
Deutsche Telekom and from Alicia. From
my personal point of view, I do think the challenge is going to be to keep up and even increase the level of cooperation in the industry.
Thank you.
24 months from now, I will be retired, that's for sure. I will be a grandfather, that's number 2. And I hope that we have young, talented people on board, challenging us with all these challenges we are facing. Because we need new way of thinking going forward. And I think that's the reality. And every day was a steep 101 learning curve. And I can look back almost 30, 35 years in the industry, what we evolved going forward. But the upcoming 2 years will be even faster and more challenging.
Nasia?
I will have to agree with what Alicia said around collaboration, and also with what Ed mentioned about fresh perspective and fresh ideas. And I will throw another thing into the hat and say awareness, because to do the collaboration, to do the innovation, to do everything else, we need to know what is out there and what's coming our way. And I see I don't want to say severe, but in many cases severe lack of awareness. And we need to understand what we're dealing with before we're able to dance.
Thank you. Frank?
I don't know about my retirement. It will probably depend.
You are young. You will not be retired by 24 months.
Take care of your parents. It really depends on the results of the election in France on July 7th. But aside from that, I don't hope. In the meantime, I don't hope. In the meantime, I think there is one word for the next few years that will be absolutely key. It's AI. AI today for us is absolutely a nice potential in terms of business, because we have to build infrastructure, so it will be dark fibers, submarine cables, data centers, connections, so a lot of opportunity as a wholesalers. But in the meantime, AI as a usage, AI as doing our job, whatever it is, AI as being part of our solutions in the next 2 years, that will be really the key challenge, I think, ahead of us.
Monica, China Mobile.
I would like to reaffirm that digital transformation is not just a trend. It is a must in order for telecom players to remain relevant and to remain especially competitive, which is something extremely important for all of us nowadays.
Thank you all, and I'd like to invite you to thank the panelists for this discussion. Thanks a lot to all of you.